From We Are Spectacular, this is a Spectacular Marketing Podcast. A podcast about everything brand, marketing, digital and social for the food and drink industry and beyond. So before we get into today's podcast, I just wanted to send my best wishes to the wonderful Mark Radcliffe, incredible broadcaster on 6 Music, Radio 2, Radio 1, and many, many other amazing radio stations, Manchester and all over the place. Just wanted to send out positive vibes from us all, the community that listens to the Spectacular Marketing Podcast. Mark's been a huge inspiration to me throughout my whole life, introducing me to the best bands ever, the best comedy ever, and also just taught me that it's okay to say R and M and use the wrong words and just have fun when you're broadcasting. So wishing you well, Mark, and I'm sure everyone else is too. This week's episode is actually a live episode, and we do it from lunch at XL, and I had the pleasure of being joined by 3 wonderful human beings in the shape of Romy Miller from GAIL's Bakery, Charlotte Adams from Krispy Kreme, and also Sophie Barton from SOHO Coffee Co. We have a great discussion about what it takes to build a great brand in the lunch arena, and also what it takes to stand out and how you engage your teams and stay ahead of your competition. Thank you, that was really unexpected. Thank you very much. Okay, so welcome to Lunch Live, the exhibition at XL, and thank you to my guests for giving up their time, and thank you to you for giving up your time as well, to come along and listen to what they have to say, the words of wisdom that they've been practicing for so studiously. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome along Romy Miller from GAIL's, Sophie Barton from SOHO Coffee Company, SOHO Coffee Co, and Charlotte Adams from Krispy Kreme. So without further ado, I was just going to ask them to introduce themselves a little bit and just say who they are and what they do in a blind date style, if everyone's not too millennial. Love Island, I guess, something like that. So, Romy?
I'm Romy. I like walking on the beach.
Okay, long scrolls with my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm marketing director at GAIL's, and we, my team and I, look after everything from developing the brand to the commercial aspects of the business, helping develop the product. What do we sell? How do we sell it? Where do we sell it? In our delivery business as well.
And a good job you do too.
Thank you.
I might say. What about you, Sophie?
Well, I can't really add much to that. You know, when you work as marketing in a company like SOHO, you do everything. I make coffee, I do all the branding, make decisions on products, where they should go, what they should be wrapped in, ingredients, sustainability, you name it. So yeah, it's all about the brand, where it's going, and my days are heavy.
So
but rewarding.
We sum this up as only everything.
Everything.
So a sense of marketing is not just being a promotions jockey.
No way. You can't promote it unless you know what it. You need to be in it. You need to know everything about it.
Does everyone feel that way? You get involved in far too much, maybe think Charlotte, you've had an interesting career before. Krispy Kreme too, right?
Yes. So I was at Costa Coffee for 4.5 years in the international franchise team. And then I was at KFC, which was really exciting, working on lots of innovation, new store development, and my latest move has been to Krispy Kreme. So I've been at Krispy Kreme just under a year. I work in the innovation team, so supporting all of our new channels, so our wedding business, our delivery business, and our university channels and fundraising. So really varied role, a busy role, but it's just lovely to be part of such a joyous brand.
Wedding business is actual rings?
No, wedding towers, 200 stacked donuts as a centerpiece for people's weddings.
Exciting. mostly Glasgow people, fried things or things like that?
Yeah.
Right, so getting into some questions, which Gabby, who works with me, brilliantly does. So the first question was really around the brands that everyone works on, the holy grail and the most important thing to most. So really was thinking about GAIL's, and I'm a bit of a fanboy of that brand anyway, and living down in Brighton, there's a beautiful one down there. And GAIL's is quite selfless actually in its brand in terms of sharing that. So many brands are guarded about the brand, but you guys share it, tell people, tell the world about it. Have you seen advantages from that? What's happened when you've done that?
So that's thanks, because that's what we try really hard to do. But as the brand scaled, as we've grown, it gets harder and harder to do that, because necessarily you have to think at scale and you have to think about how a message works, not just, it used to be riding bikes around to the different shops and it was easy to let everything speak for itself, but the more people in the business and the more customers we have, it's harder and harder to try and put the brand forward, and the brand is really just all about the food for us.
But then you've got such a humanitarian kindness aspect to the brand as well, so how can you keep that going when you're getting so much bigger? It's such a hard thing to keep that going, right?
So do you mean things like how we deal with food waste and that kind of stuff? Just thinking bigger than just selling.
Yeah, I just think you're such a giving, caring brand in that way. So you give things away selflessly. I think you engage your employees so well. There's such a kindness where you could be all about the spreadsheet and the commercial and you don't seem that way. So how do you keep that going as you grow and grow and grow and grow from 30 to onwards,
Yeah, it's really just about staying focused on what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to do is make the best food in the world. And so everything else, the spreadsheets and everything, is still there, but it's all about the food and what you do with the food, how you make the food, how you don't waste the food, and how our ecosystem revolves around that. So it's really hard. It's really hard, and it's getting harder and harder. But I guess we like to say it's the embracing complexity to stay focused on the goal.
But then obviously the causes that you support and so much time and effort goes into that. So can you speak to that a little bit as well?
Yeah, I mean, I had really good advice from someone who runs a food charity once when things started to get really hectic, and we found ourselves spending such a disproportionate amount of time trying to deal with food waste to manage our reputation, because dealing with the food waste is the hardest thing in the world. I don't know if anybody else has that experience, but there's simply not enough places to give food at the end of the day. But starting to spend more and more time on that when we really need to be thinking about the business side of what we're trying to do. I took advice from someone who said, don't try and be a charity. You're not a charity. Don't try and be a charity. Just, decide what you want to do and do the best that you can. And so for us, that's just about, we set up structure is a bit grand, but we set up a plan where we're able to take on more charities and manage it in a way that takes as little input from us as it can. But it's tough, it's hard. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Keep doing it then.
Thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
Good. And then Sophie, I guess it's hard when you've got coffee in your name, but obviously you're offering so much more than that. And
yeah, I've argued that one a lot.
Yeah.
But it's got to stay as it is.
Yeah.
So it is, SOHO Coffee Co. And you're right, we're a lot more than that.
And so with all the troubles in the food market right now and the struggles and how competitive it is and all these things, like, how are you managing to stand out? What are you turning to help just get those sales in, get that extra sale, customer loyalty, beat the competitors? What are you doing to stand out?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm such a marketeer. I will say I think SOHO's the full package. That's how I think we stand out. Because you can go into a coffee shop and you can get a pretty mediocre coffee. You could go somewhere else and get maybe a really good coffee but really rubbish food. So what we focus on is basically our USP is customer-led, customized hot food with coffee. Our coffee is triple certified coffee. It's the only one on the high street that is. So it's organic, fair trade, and Rainforest Alliance certified. It tastes really good. So you're starting off from a really good base. You've got a good cup of coffee. But then, when you're on the go and you're in a hurry and you want something good to eat, you're not at home and it's got to be something that's good. We have all of that quick bite stuff that's really easy to grab. But then we do customized hot food, which none of our competitors do like we do.
Yeah.
So grab something from the chiller or stay and linger. And actually, I did research when I started at Soho. And I spent a lot of time in the stores, and our customers really enjoy hanging out in our stores, whether it's student or whether it's work. Some of the ones we have in the city, guys spend hours. They all have their meetings in there, and that's good. That's one way that customers get to spend more. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. So that sets us apart. Our coffee sets us apart. Our food is freshly made every single night. At 3:00 in the morning, the vans leave our kitchens and they drive into town. Every store gets fresh delivery every single morning. So the fresh food makes its way into store and is then freshly prepared in the front of a customer as they order it. So that for me is a big win. I have to look at my notes because we have so many good things. We've also got our teams.
You should be in marketing.
Our teams are great. You were saying it's really hard to scale up. So when you've got one store, two store, three store, that's okay. But we've got 40 stores, and it's really important that when you go into a Soho, you get the same experience, whether it's the small one on the corner or you're at the airport and you're just about to get on the plane. So for us, it's very important that our teams are trained properly, that they give you that extra smile and care. We've got guys now who have regulars that come in. They know what coffee they're having. It's already made before they've come in the door. So that, for me, is good service. It means it's quick service. And service, at the end of the day, is what you need, quick service. So can you see why I'm saying I think we're the complete package? Because you can either go in and just get a takeaway coffee, or you can stay and chill out and get a baked potato.
But in terms of the nightmare of employee engagement and staff turnover and all these things, which we're getting so many calls about, right? It seems to be the number one thing on CEO's agenda right now, percentage-wise. How are you managing to keep, if you're saying people are recognising their regulars, boy, it's tough to keep staff.
It's really hard. We're in that market where people come and go all the time.
Yeah.
So it is difficult, but we have quite a few team members who've been with us for some years now, and they just ooze love. So when the new team member comes in, they're under their wing, and then before you know it, they love it, and they're moving and becoming manager of another store. So it is difficult, but it's all about how you treat people. And we're a really small company. Yeah. We're a really small team at head office. And we've only got, 3 area managers. We're always talking, regularly meeting. We see everybody all the time. Yeah. So there's very much a feeling of family, which helps.
Authentically so.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. And what about Krispy Kreme then? 15 years ago it opened in the UK?
Yes, we opened in 2003 in the UK.
So how are you staying relevant? Because when it came, it was like, oh my God, there's this donut that's like 5,000 calories and we've got to have it, and it's just this freak shake of a thing, and and then once you've done it, it was like, so what happens to keep that ball rolling?
So Krispy Kreme's core part of their brand DNA is all about joy and spreading smiles. So we always do really exciting campaigns that really will bring joy to other people and our customers' lives. So we've done lots of PR and event pop-ups and experiential things. So we've done partnerships with our Nutella brand. So Nutella is a really big, important partnership with us. So we took over a whole store in London, branded it jointly with Nutella, and we were doing a Nutella hole in the wall where customers could come in and get it like a Nutella vending machine, which was really exciting. And just all of our campaigns are really about bringing smiles and just making people happy and kind of sharing the love, really.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun brand. We also do lots of new product launches as well. I think new news is really, really important for brands that have been in the market a while.
Yeah.
So we have launched recently with Reese's, and obviously we have our strong Nutella partnership. And next week we're going to be launching our Vimto donut.
I heard about this.
Yeah, so we're doing a secret menu, well, not so secret now, a secret menu launch on the 8th of October, and then it will be coming out properly for Halloween on the 15th.
And you've tried this?
Yes.
And?
If you love Vimto, you're going to love the Vimto donut.
That wasn't the question. Is there an Iron Brew?
Not yet,
Version
but never say
on the-
never. We are in Scotland.
Well, in fact, I got a WhatsApp from a very excited 42-year-old friend saying they were giving out free Krispy Kreme with Uber Eats
Yes.
in Glasgow the other day. And he was off to a business meeting and he was very excited about that, so that was quite cool. And then what about, some of the competitors nibbling away as well, the really small artisan ones like Crosstown and all these things? I mean, how are you sort of avoiding that stuff and fighting that?
So I think the biggest thing a brand can do with the rise of artisans is to really remain distinctive to yourself. We pride ourselves on our original glaze recipe, which is the same recipe worldwide, and it's been there since 1937. So it's all about being authentic and delivering that taste that our customers expect to know us for. But overlaid on top of that is injecting new news. So when we work and choose what partners to work with, we always anchor it in insight, but then really launch with brands that are loved by the UK customer. So like Nutella, like our Vimto product that's coming out next week. So yeah, it's all about putting the customer at the heart.
Yeah, sounds exciting. So you've touched on product development there. What about you two then in terms of product development? How are you keeping fresh? Where are you looking for inspiration? How do you keep ahead of the game? What's happening there?
Yeah, we eat
What's
a
the
lot.
next sourdough?
The next sourdough. So that's the thing. There is no next sourdough,
What?
because if you're doing it right, it just is. But we eat a lot, and I think we have a pretty engaged. We're all just really into it, basically. So everyone is sort of aware of what's going on. Actually, as I just said, there's no new sourdough. We're just. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Look at the daggers.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Seriously, we have the best sourdough that we've ever,
Yeah, that's true.
in terms of innovation, because we really do stand by the timeless, traditional, doing things right ethos around baking with your hands and with your skill. That said, we found a way to recycle the actual bread, which is really cool, and now we'll be having a waste sourdough, which is really exciting. And literally last night I sat at home like slicing the bread with an embarrassing amount of butter and just eating it on my sofa. But that's the kind of innovation that we think is really interesting. So it's not about finding some kind of stunty development.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more about what tastes great and what really builds on excellent baking, I guess.
Or is it maybe, partnering with some interesting partners like the kombucha partners, or, some things that would go with your core
Yeah,
range
I think,
products?
our partnerships to us are really important. So the people from whom we buy our ingredients are partners rather than suppliers in the main. And we support whoever we can in terms of, our cheese comes literally from our friend who has a cheesemonger in Connaught Square, and we were down at Quick's farm and everything. We buy from Quick's. I could wang on about ingredients all day, but we buy everything from the cheese to the cheese curds, and the waste gets made into buttermilk, which goes back into our food. So rather than partnering with other brands, which we do sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't do that to develop food. We do that more because we have some kind of brand synergy or alignment in our ethos.
Yeah. What about you, Sophie?
Well, we do the same. We eat a lot, we drink a lot, we travel, we listen. We listen to what our customers say they want, and we listen when they say they don't like it. As I was saying earlier, we're a really small company. we're able to react really quickly. So if we feel, we'll constantly be looking at sales and listening to feedback, and if we decide that something isn't really going the way we want it to go, we will change it. But generally speaking, we're a small team. We spend a lot of time in the development kitchen. I think I've put on about a stone since I started working there, and it's just constant. This goes nicely with this. And if somebody sees something or hears something or tries something, or, we just bring it all back into the fold.
Yeah. I'm not getting into this debate about how much weight someone's put on since they started working for Drink. So in terms of, marketing locally and globally and all that stuff, so you're managing national, international brands, but then you've got to be local in this day and age now too, right, and make it feel special. So how are you managing that push and pull as well? How are you managing to do both and,
Well, obviously, there's different markets. Cheese and tomato is a good seller. Egg is a good seller. There are some things that no matter what market you're in, people are going to buy. But it's as you said, it's really important to look at your target market. We've got, apart from a core range, we have other add-ons that we might use in a distinct place. So we've got quite a high student following, actually, here in town, which has been a recent thing for us because we've partnered with Uni Days. That's really worked well for us, and in doing that we've introduced Brunch Menu on the weekends. It might be that in St Paul's in our O2 we've got a kids range because a lot of tourists, they want kids, they want to have a really plain sandwich, plain ham, plain cheese, just kiddie stuff. And we also have a theatre tea in Theatreland. It is important to do that. I think it shows that you can react, and that what it shows is you care. We're not just stuck here, and we're not just a store plomping down. We're just going to sell whatever. It's actually, we get it. Yeah. This is your needs met. Come in, chill out, and have brunch with your mates on a Sunday when you're away from home. So it is. I think it's important. It makes our job, I'm sure you'd agree with me, a hell of a lot harder, because when it comes to marketing and point of sale and all the rest of it, you've got a core group, but then you've got loads of other stores. This one doesn't sell that one does. That one needs this, but this one doesn't. So it does make it really difficult. But I think it's worth it.
And is there anything you two are especially doing that's more local, Romy?
Well, I think for us as the people working in the shops, so in our bakeries, it's all about the team, because at the end of the day, people come to, we're lucky to have people come in full stop. Yeah. And if they come in, they, it's often part of a habit. And we want them to feel recognized and acknowledged and get brilliant service. And so, brilliant service, we try and support that the best way we can by making life as easy as possible for the amazing people who work in our shops, because you can come up with whatever marketing or commercial strategies you want. At the end of the day, if you have an experience that's not great, you're probably not going to come back.
Yeah, that's true. Charlotte, I guess yours is slightly,
Yeah, I think I would completely echo Romy's comments about people. I think that's really, really important. What a lot of people don't know about Krispy Kreme is all of our donuts are actually handmade and fresh every day. And the only way we could deliver hand-decorated and fresh product every day is relying on our fantastic store teams. So equally, from the teams behind to the teams who are on the front, giving our customers the best experience, it really is about knowing your local customer. It's also been really good learning for us. We're just about to open up in Ireland, and going through that journey of how we tailor what we know and our comm strategy for the UK about making it relevant for the Irish consumer. So we're really relying on our Irish agencies to give us that local level insight. We're always flying over there and talking to the customers, spending time with our teams and understanding, getting ourselves in the mindset, so we're not just this big global brand coming over trying to roll out a cookie cutter approach. We're actually being relevant, tailoring our comms, having those nuances that make sense for the customer.
Is that a big difference you seeing?
It's still our original recipe. It's still the donut range will be fairly similar, but there might be some flavor profiles where we have kind of tweaked it or made it more relevant. But it's a brand new start for us, so it might develop over time. But at the moment, it will be fairly consistent.
Yeah.
But I think comms tactics are completely different, and then making just everything just really relevant.
Yeah, we've just been helping launch a burger range in Ireland, and it's been a bit of an eye-opener how different the market is actually. So it's been quite a big one. So last question I was going to ask you guys, and then go into the audience if anyone had any questions, was just on the delivery side of things, because I've been to a few conferences and Uber stands up or Deliveroo stands up and they get booed, which is weird. So are you seeing them as friend or foe, or how are you handling them in your business, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so we don't use Deliveroo and we don't use Uber Eats, but I think they're amazing, and I think that they've brought a hassle-free and ease to the market, a hassle-free and ease attitude that didn't exist before. And Just Eat, all the businesses are amazing. We don't use them because we do it ourselves, just on the basis of protecting the brand and the quality. So I don't think GAIL's is a mass, or should be a mass offer. And also because we're baking fresh all day, the complexity is too great to farm out too much of the chain, I guess. But I think it's amazing.
Yeah, you using?
No,
we're
not. Our offer is freshly prepared. Yeah. It's not going to work for us. It's the same reason we don't do pre-ordering, because by the time you've arrived, because your train's late, no, we're not interested in that.
Charlotte?
So we work with both Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Uber Eats has been just over a year, and Deliveroo, we joined with them this year. So it's really important for us to work in partnership with both of the brands. So we work very collaboratively and we do joint campaigns. When we launched with Uber Eats, I think it was just over a year ago now, we did a really large-scale sampling campaign, which was really, really exciting for us. So I'm not sure if any of you saw it, but we actually gave away 20,000 donuts across London, which was really, really big for us. It was our, if not the largest scale giveaway we've ever done. We didn't put a lot of investment behind it. We did press outreach and we did some digital advertising, but it was fairly light touch, and just the consumer response was absolutely amazing. I mean, who doesn't love a free donut? But it was so fantastic. And unfortunately, we ended up breaking the Uber Eats app globally. So people in New York couldn't actually order on Uber Eats because we were giving away Krispy Kreme donuts through Uber Eats in London. So it just shows you when a couple of great brands get together, we can make a lot of people happy and put a lot of smiles on people's faces.
How do you all deal with waste reduction? I know Romy spoke about it briefly and how you've set up partnerships with charities, but for the rest of you, I'm curious to know how you deal with problems of wastage within your sector and within your companies.
Shall I go, given that you said something? Okay. So we try not to create the waste in the first place. That's what we really try and do. Our stores are incredibly good at ordering what it is they need, but admittedly there are times when stuff doesn't get sold. So we have a few charities that we give to. Our bar store, for instance, has something called Food Drop. Fantastic. 2 students who are doing their masters. They've come up with an app and they marry up students who want to do voluntary time with stores who have excess food. So these guys turn up at the store. You were saying earlier how difficult it is to give away food. With us, we've got sandwiches, we've got stuff in the chillers. There are rules around that. We can't just hand it out, because if you were to have the sandwich and it's been out of a fridge for a certain amount of time and gone above a certain temperature, and then you're ill, then that obviously comes back on us. So as much as we want to give food away, there are rules. So it's not as easy as it might seem, but these guys have set this thing up in Bath and it's fantastic. They come on a regular basis and they fetch, and we have that around other stores as well.
Any other questions? Chap at the back over there.
Hi. How effective do you find digital advertising in a market that is so competitive nowadays?
Yeah, it's great. It's very effective. There's different levels of effectiveness, obviously, for each channel. But of course, paid digital is better when you want a conversion. So for delivery, For e-commerce, it's more effective, whereas for us, our customers, which are, broadly the age of everyone in this room, email is great, so it doesn't always have to be paid advertising for it to be effective digital comms. And Wi-Fi, the innovations in hospitality Wi-Fi are awesome now. The things that it can do is just amazing.
I've got a quick thing to say on that, which is just the average amount of time people are spending on their phones is 220 minutes a day. So if that's the average, that means like an old granny's spending 0 and we're all spending 6-7 hours. So if everyone's face is stuck to the phone, that's where the attention is, right? So that's where everyone's attention is. So we should all be making content for it. First, second, third, fourth. Forget everything else. Put 70, 80, 90% of your budget towards digital. That's it. End of story. Amen.
I disagree.
We'll have a fight later.
No, of course, digital first. It has to be digital first. It has to be mobile first. But I don't think that it's everything. And certainly the marketing activity that we do, which is most effective, is not digital.
Oh, but could I just really quickly say that actually the Wi-Fi, so we have installed Wi-Fi, and yes, people do look at their phones because our database is massive. It's growing exponentially.
Legally?
Oh, completely compliant.
Good. Any last questions?
Sorry, it was just on that point, on the digital marketing, because like you were saying, people spend so much time on their phone and constantly scrolling. Do you not find people are almost numb to digital advertising now, that like you'll see the ads and you'll just scroll by it? Like, is there any way you would kind of combat that in a way that you can stand out? Like, I know myself, like I'd be on Facebook, but I'm completely numb to every ad that comes up. I won't give it a second glance. So is there any way through your digital marketing that you combat that?
Am I talking too much?
What was it? Well, no. You're on the panel.
I think it's about having integrity in your brand message, so not spamming, basically. So the work that Mark and We Are Spectacular to do is a good example where you put the effort into the content creation. So it's not just about banging out ads that nobody cares about or that they scroll past. It's all about being a purposeful brand that has a message that people want to engage with. And whether it's in digital or not in digital, if your message isn't great, then people won't notice it.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, for sure it's not ads. Like, it's lateral thinking content. So if you take all the great stuff that Romy said, like all day long, those seconds, minutes about making that sourdough, that ingredient, the provenance stories, that's the interest stuff. And then those hero movies, and if anyone wants like a perfect content strategy sort of playbook, like email me or tweet me at Spectacular Mark. I'll send you it and it will show you exactly how to do it. Like, it's the best paper ever. It's 83 pages of insanity. It's just the best thing in the world. But not many people are A, respecting in this industry what digital can do, or B, doing it properly with the right budget. So until you've done it and you've rinsed it and you've done it well, it's really, it's really hard to say it doesn't work. So,
Can I just
but the
interject
big
there,
ones are
Mark?
getting it well. Yeah.
Can I just say that actually what I love about you is that you always share. There's something really good about a really good manager or somebody who knows what it is. You always share your information. And there's something
Why not?
really... Yeah, well, it's great. It really works.
Free stuff. Like the donuts. Okay, I need one last applause from you. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Massive thank you to my guests, Romy Miller, Sophie Barton, Charlotte Adams. Thank you so much. So hopefully you enjoyed that episode. It was so much fun to do it in front of a live studio audience. There was maybe around, 75, 100 people there, and they all seemed to get a lot out of it too. Thanks also to my amazing guests, Romy Miller from GAIL's, Sophie Barton from SOHO Coffee Co, and Charlotte Adams from Krispy Kreme. I think we can all agree they know their stuff. They're leading great brands, and I can't wait to see what they do in the next couple of years to develop these brands even further. A huge thanks also to you guys for all listening. We are riding really high in the iTunes charts at the moment, and we did something really incredible, mainly thanks to Gabby, where we are now in the new and noteworthy section and the front page of iTunes, which is just unbelievable to us, little old us. So really grateful, really thankful, and yeah, just can't believe how well this is all going. So thank you again for your continued support. Thanks again to Gaz, Gabby and Mihal for all of their hard work in putting the Spectacular Marketing podcast together. I'm Mark McCulloch, and this was Spectacular.